Okay, so September 2016. Let's have a look at a replacement water system. I put in a bigger tank and put in a filter and new water pump. Prior to that, a little bit of engine. I haven't really had a look around the engine, so look at engine access because I needed to change or inspect and possibly change the sacrificial anode, which is a very important thing. So really that takes up the bulk of this. What I was going to do today was to have a better look at my kind of plans for 2017, because they're beginning to sort of firm up, and I'm starting to look at sort of voyaging ideas, because I really want to start voyaging as from about April, May next year, which is going to involve doing a lot of things. There's lots of options there, so I thought what I'd do is actually, rather than do them today, is I will wait and go into more detail in the next video. And I partly want to do that because if I actually put it down on video, I've kind of got a record and I've kind of committed to myself. I mean, you guys in YouTube land, I don't mind if I sort of say one thing and do another, but I don't want to kind of promise myself something and not do it. So plans are afoot, and I'll talk about those next month. So anyway, before we kick off, let's just have a look at the engine access. I've got really great engine access here, and actually I've got an area I can crawl into behind the engine, so I've got sort of a hidey hole, if you will. Oh, I've let everybody know where it is now, but let's have a look at this. Yeah, hopefully you can see just how good the engine access is here. I can literally get to everything, and as I say, crawl in. And yeah, I'm going to put a calorifier probably sort of over there where the where the blue tube is poking out. Right, so right, so not sure if there's enough light for this to come out, but as you can see, yeah, I could practically put another berth in here, couldn't I? And this is the view from the other direction, so quite neat little footrests there on the engine mountings. Of course this video might never see the light of day because I might actually never get out of here, but I tell you what, it's a lot less restricted than some of the bigger boats that I've seen on videos. Look at this gap, it's a huge gap. Can't quite get out of it sideways, but the length of that actually really helps. And there's plenty of room in here to put a calorifier. And possibly even, although I might put it the other side of this wall, a diesel heater. Great view of the back of the engine here. The engine really is so accessible. That's the air filter there. I can get at everything. Very good. Yeah, just to kind of complete things, this is the access from the front, and as you can see, it's very easy to get your arms around and check everything. Filter's easy to get at. There's a pump to change the oil, impeller's very easy to get out, and it's got a flat belt which they reckon lasts longer than other things. Very easy to get to all the seacocks, etc. So there it is, beautiful red engine. Okay, here is a very simple but important task, and that's checking and replacing the sacrificial anode on the engine. I've got a new one ready because you're supposed to check these every 6 months and replace them as and when needed, and I know that on a new engine they tend to wear out more quickly, so that's what a new one should look like. That's what a new one does look like. So let's take the old one out and swap it up now. And that is salty water coming out of there. I think you can see the difference. So yes, you can see quite clearly within 6 months just how much of that zinc's been eaten away, which shows that it's doing its job and not eating the engine. I think I'll probably check every 3 months. This is a spare one, by the way. I'm going to have plenty of spares on board, but I was told that the for the first sort of few tens of hours that it tends to eat them more quickly, but a warning to us all to make sure that you replace your sacrificial anode, because it certainly is working. Right, so very important to replace the anode. That had eaten away quite a way. Another thing I wanted to do, and I've put in, I had about 100 litres of water. I've increased that to a 200 litre water tank, but it tasted disgusting, and it sort of tastes plasticky. And then I put some water treatment stuff in it, which makes it taste really chlorine-y. So I needed to do 2 things. One, I needed to get a bigger tank, which I've put in, and secondly, I needed to put in a filter to actually get rid of that taste, so I didn't have to rely on bottled water. So that actually went quite well, apart from the pump, which we'll talk about a little bit later, because the old pump was leaking, so it needs to be changed, replaced, updated, etc. So let's have a look and see how the water filter and the water tank bit worked. Right, so here's how it works. It's just past 7 o'clock in the evening. I've decided to install a new water tank, and I've got my darling first mate coming round in about an hour, so I'm in trouble if I don't do it. There's a new water tank, and I've discovered, this is the pump, I've actually got a spare one. So this was for the sink that's not used. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this one up and kind of slot it quickly in place without tying it in, then pump out the water pump, and then I should be able to just swap them over, I think. Anyway, I've got very little time to do this. Let's see. I know I should have done it earlier today, shouldn't I? But it was such a nice day. Anyway. Right, a bit of a get out of jail card. It wasn't an hour. It's setting off in an hour. So, it's kind of stuff all over the place. I've got the new, I can't see it, hang on. I've got the new water filter in, and I'm going to fix up to the old pump first, which kind of makes sense. The water's been leaking from somewhere, by the way. This water in the bilge, that's not seawater, that's fresh water, and there's only one way to find out. That's by sending it off to a laboratory and paying £100, or you could dip your finger in it and lick it and it's not salty. Ugh, oily though, I've got oil on my finger. Right, so everything is now replaced, including new, much more flexible hose. So I'm just going to try and fill it up to the top until the water pours out. Right, so the instructions say pump it until the black charcoal stuff stops coming out. And that'd be great, because normally this is horrible. Right, so actually that's alright, just tastes like water. Oh, impressed. Very impressed. Should have done this a year ago, really, shouldn't I? Right, so that's that bit, but now what about the pump then? What did I do with the pump? I was hoping I could just swap one for another, refurbish it. Didn't quite go well, and I must say right at the beginning, by the way, is I'm not being endorsed. I'm not being paid any money at all to promote whale pumps in this point, so I just want it to be absolutely clear before we start. Right, so I've got a service kit. So originally I was going to actually just simply replace the pump with this other. This one was for the sink, which is no longer used, so I've got a completely spare one of these. So what I decided to do instead was to order a service kit, service this one up, and then pop this in after changing the other one. So let's just take this apart and see what it looks like. Right, so this kind of comes apart reasonably easily. Bits and as per normal, I kind of have to dismantle the whole boat to do the simplest little job. I'm not saying this is simple or not, so I just replace all the rubber things. Well, that's the old diaphragm off, and that's the new diaphragm, and as you can see, it's different. Don't you just love it when you order the wrong parts? So, how well did fixing the pump with the wrong kit go? Well, not very well at all. In fact, it made it worse, so I ordered a new one of these, but at least I now have the... I've got the maintenance kit for it, so I'm hoping that the one thing they didn't change was the fittings to actually screw it in, because that would be brilliant. So, looks the same. Let's oh, it is different. The Mark III is definitely different from the other one. So there we are. At least I've got a lovely brand new pump which I'm going to put in, and it's even got a quality assurance sticker on it, so I feel perfectly happy with that now. And as I say, I'm just hoping that these lugs are the same distance apart. So old versus new, they kind of look the same, don't they? And you know, what do they call this? This future-proofing, upgradability. So an obvious thing to do is, if you're a Whale Mark 1 or 2 user, is to be able to just unscrew the old one and screw the new one in. So let's just have a look and see if the mounting base plates are the same. So there's one of them, and does the other one line up? No, of course it doesn't, by about ½ an inch. So well done, Whale R&D department, for really thinking about your customers. This is a grumpy old man rant. That is just so stupid. How difficult would it have been to make that compatible so you could just unbolt the old one and bolt in the new one? But no, do we care about customers? Do we not? So if anybody's thinking of going for a Whale 1 or 2, just feel free to buy any other product from any other manufacturer, because it's not an easy swap over. So forget about getting a new Whale one. I would have certainly looked around a little bit if I'd have known that wasn't really the same, but I couldn't believe how stupid their R&D department is. So good old British manufacturing at its best. So not only are the mounting points a different width, but it's actually a different height. Critically, this bit I can saw these bits that I don't need off. So again, Whale, well done for keeping more or less the same sort of shape, calling it a Mark III and making it completely a different size, causing me to modify my boat. So when I look for my next set of products, bilge pumps and so on, Whale is not going to be on the short list. So just to reiterate, I'm not being paid by Whale. That's my own personal view on that, and I don't expect them to send me loads of products and things. Next month, let's have a look at the plans for 2017. So have a good time between now and then, and see you next month.